Tip 14, how do we charge for Diag? Well, frankly, diagnostic rates should be higher than our normal rate. And the reason they should be higher than our normal rate is because we're not getting parts. And parts and labor are how we get paid. So even from the outset, I should have a higher rate for Diag and for diagnostics in my business. So if my normal rate is 120, having a diagnostic rate of 135, 140, 145 should not be a problem, and it should be something that I'm doing in order to make the profit that I want. Also, having multiple diagnostic rates. When a car is coming into my shop, I only know what the customer has told me. And oftentimes, frankly, the customer doesn't even know the make of their car or the year. So in comes this car. Customers described a check engine light on and a hesitation at idle. And I'm thinking, I've got an hour, it's $145, we're gonna figure out what's going on with this car. And my technician puts the scanner on the car, test drives the car, feels the problem at idle or on acceleration, sees the check engine light on, and pulls the codes out of the car. I've got 3 different cars here. I got one car that has 1 or 2 codes. Now if it has 1 or 2 codes, the odds of my technician finding out what's wrong with the car in the original time quoted, dollars quoted, they're pretty good. So at this point, I don't have anything else to do. I let my technician do his work. He does his work. He tells us what's wrong with the car. We get it fixed, or we at least are able to tell the customer what's wrong with it. I have a second car that comes in under the same circumstances with the same knowledge. My technician puts the scanner on the car, and there are 12 codes. Well, if there are 12 codes, the likelihood of my technician spending more than the original time quoted is pretty high. At this point, I should have a second diagnostic. So we have a level 1 diagnostic, that's the one with 1 or 2 codes. We have a level 2 diagnostic, that's the one with 10 or 12 codes. And then, believe it or not, I have a third car that's going to come in under the same circumstances. When the customer comes in, the customer says, hey Cecil, that car has been to 4 shops, and man, nobody can fix it. Well, I just went to a level 3 diagnostic, and that level 3 diagnostic might include 4 or 5 hours of my time because I know it's going to be a difficult problem, and because I know there's a high likelihood of me going in, finding new parts, finding things disconnected, wires that don't go where they're supposed to, and I might have to put all of this back together and start from ground zero in order to totally diagnose this car and get it done correctly. Level 1 is an hour, $145. Level 2 might be 2 or 3 hours, so $200 or $300 might be 4. Level 5, I might have a level 5. I guess I could. Don't right now, but level 3 would step us up to a 4 to 5 hour, maybe even a 6 hour diagnostic on the car, and it makes sense. I didn't buy the car, I didn't build it, I didn't drive it, I didn't break it. It isn't my responsibility or my technician's responsibility to spend their time on this vehicle figuring out what's wrong without getting paid. We should get paid for what we do. So we have multiple different diagnostic rates for our clients based on the circumstance. And we start out with our initial level 1, but we could have to go to a level 2 or a level 3, and if we do, we call the customer, we let them know. Now, let's say that the car comes in and the customer says, man, I've had it to 4 shops and nobody can fix it. And my technician is such a genius that he gets on there and within an hour he's figured it all out, and we know what's wrong and we can fix it, and we can fix it right. And I've charged this guy for 5 hours of our time. It's up to you what you want to do here, but I can tell you it's easy to give the money back, builds value for the client, builds trust with the client, but it's really, really hard if I've told them it's going to be $140 at this point in time, if it is going to take a lot more time to get extra money. So I would rather give the money back, start higher, and give the money back than I would start lower and have to add and add and add. So multiple diag rates is something that a lot of shops are doing, and we certainly would recommend you do that. Thank you.